Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Did you notice that this didn't have... No, Hannah has not been let go or anything.
She's on vacation.
She's away this week. She'll be back next week. But I was looking for the one that had all three of us, and I found this one. I'm like, well, it's just two of us today, so I'll use this one. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina. I didn't say anything.
Sorry. No show notes, but we have a rhythm here.
I thought since Hannah wasn't here that, if things were off, it was okay. Apparently not. So let me try that again. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. I was saying that, and I was hearing the guy who was blowing the parking lot, using the leaf blower. I'm the owner. I'm trying to get good now. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in crisp and maybe gonna warm up today, Brevard, North Carolina. How's that?
That's actually an apt description. I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
I had time to process.
It is gonna warm up.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It just I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm cold. Why am I cold? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're in that springtime where it's cold in the morning and then it warms up. And we had days where it got to 80 and that was crazy. And then not. And we discovered when we turned our air on for the first time that half of the shop, it wasn't working. But that's been fixed. Luckily, while it was being fixed, the temperature dropped mostly. So we had to turn the heat back on. So, the joys of running a small business, and everywhere we go, there's quirks. Yes, you knew where I was going with that.
I knew.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so hi! We're going to try to fill the space since we don't have all three of us, but that's okay because we used to do it with just two of us all the time.
Yeah.
And there's the guy with the leaf blower. But we're really glad he's maintaining the parking lot so it looks nice.
It's better than the coffee club on the patio. It's like there are so many.
The Bracken Mountain Coffee Club. Quirks everywhere. Okay, that was at our second shop. This is our fourth shop for anyone who's just joining us. Hasn't been following us on the whole 4 to 5 year odyssey of running this channel. This is our fourth shop in 7.5 years. And the first three were all expansions, which was awesome. And the fourth one was not, although this place feels bigger. Which is really
everybody
cool.
thinks that it's way bigger than
that
our
we
last one.
expanded again. So
we actually lost a couple hundred feet.
But, and people are like, does not compute. But this space has all these rooms that we can functionally use, and the last space, the back 1/3 of it, is one really big room, really big space, with some subdivision, half walls, 2/3 of the way back. And the back third of space wasn't super functional. We never made it. I taught back there in a little chunk of it.
It had a giant wall of boxes.
It had a giant wall of boxes by the time we left. To kind of try to subdivide the space to have shipping and receiving and things, but it wasn't functional drift around and look at things space for the customers. So this feels bigger. Anyway, I digress, but don't we all the time? At least us. It's a thing. Yes. So we got a card, which is lovely. And so I'm going to read it to y'all and address what it is asking or hoping for. And then we're going to show off stuff because we have stuff to show off.
I think we have kind of the same stuff.
Kinda.
Or the same thought of stuff.
Except for my vest.
Except for your vest.
Which is almost done. Yay! Anyway, so let me start with this. Dear Becky, Lizzie, and Hannah, I'm a longtime viewer of the sideshow and first-time questioner. I live out of town and can't make it to the shop as often as I would like. The last time I was in the shop, I purchased a circular crochet kit and had such a good time, I want to purchase more. Also, at the time, I poked through a bin at the entrance and couldn't make up my mind. In both instances, I hope to order these items from your online shop. However, these are not listed. It's helpful to see pictures and colors, and sadly, that's not easily described if I call the shop. I know you've all been through a lot with storms and fires, but I would love to support you from afar. Can you please update your website with the circular kits and pre-made knit kits? Thanks for making my knitting and crochet hobby more enjoyable. Supporter from afar. Lots of good things and lots of more challenging things in this. So thank you for wanting to support us from afar. That's awesome. And we have a lot of people who watch, who support us from afar and have never been in the shop. And we really appreciate that too. I think when she was talking about, so we have the circular kits over on the side counter, and in front of that is a bin full of, they were kits of yarn. They don't have the patterns. They're just yarn combinations we have put together. And you still have to get the patterns separately. And they're leftovers from a lot of different kits we put together over a course of a couple of years. And when we moved in here, they just got dumped in a bin. We used to have them on nicer display in this, especially the second shop. And even with all this space, we haven't figured out how to display them here. And some of them I'm ready to unkit and put back on the wall because they're for patterns that we haven't promoted much, or they're for local yarn store day patterns that they're available, but you can't get the free pattern anymore. So that's got its own issues, really, those kits. And just
Some
as a
of
side
them
note,
were online. Did we pull those offline?
I think I took all the kits off. Yeah. Because I say bless you and let her finish because there's a bunch. You let me know.
I think I'm good.
Okay, bless you.
Thank you.
And it was hard to keep up with inventory on those. Because every once in a while when someone comes into the shop and wants part of it, we break up the kit.
Yeah.
And then it's listed on. It's really there's on the best days we have 3 of us here, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. And so it does kind of point to a larger issue that some of you have heard about a lot on this channel, but I'm going to bring it up again because it was in this letter, of trying to maintain the online shop and running the shop, and all the things that go into that.
And pre-pandemic, we'd always said it would take an entire
We need
extra staff. Not just one person, but an entire staff to do online.
We didn't have an online shop before COVID hit because I knew it'd be a lot of energy and work to maintain it. And then when COVID hit, we were like, well, we have to at this point because for survival. I will say, once we started letting people back into the shop, then we are at a point where maybe 10 to 15% of our sales are online. Sometimes a little more, but it's not that the online shop keeps us afloat. But we love and appreciate that our faraway customers want to use the online shop to support us. And I fully advocate for that. I know we have virtual sit and stitchers and others who are just like, we'd like to see stuff in the online shop, or and we say call us, or we'll email back and forth. We did a lot of virtual shopping during the early days of the pandemic because that was what we had to do. And one of the things when we first started the online shop, that's when we were filming so many days a week because we couldn't really have the shop open. And every time we talk about a yarn here on the
VSC.
The VSC, I'm like, what do we even call it? The virtual shopping channel. We'd film 3 days a week, and one of those days was the virtual shopping channel. And when I showed off the yarns here, then it would force me to get it up online, but I had the time to do that because getting stuff online requires taking or borrowing pictures, but the borrowing pictures is still a process of moving people's pictures from their website to ours and making the descriptions and syncing everything up. And I started to train Hannah on that. And for various reasons, it's hard to just, like, we never have a day where we can just sit down and do that.
It's
right?
one of those that even though we have the extra body, we're all, like, we're still in the shop. Like, somebody asked, was it busy Tuesday? Because it was just us in here on Tuesday.
And we had a sale going on.
And it was
for her birthday.
I wouldn't describe it as busy, but it wasn't like
we had
time to do extra stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like,
it was just busy enough.
It was just busy enough. We'd sit down and someone would come in, or we'd come out to check and there'd be online orders. And, you know, it's really difficult, like, the time balance, because it's a physical shop. We, have to help people who come in. We also need rest, because working 7 days a week is going to kill us.
Yeah.
Or you and then me. I always say we're going to die together, but I mean...
And I'm usually working on Mondays, but I'm not working here taking pictures. Like, I work from home on Mondays to put out newsletters and to film for my other channel. And I feel like we love doing this for you all. And but doing this and having online content is almost a separate job from having the shop. And a lot of people who have the massive followings for online content don't also have the shop, or,
we're also bringing back more and more of the stuff we did pre-pandemic, like the classes. Saturdays, you're occupied with classes.
A lot of days
Fridays,
I'm occupied.
You're occupied.
We drop in help 2 times on Fridays. And I used to do everything. And not for long, because Liz was already helping out, right, when I opened the shop. And Liz has her duties, which are not computer duties. But Liz does a lot of things.
She values her computer too much.
Because you say you throw it through a window if you had to work with it.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it through a window.
That's why I value it. No, but Liz is shipping and receiving the parts that don't involve the computer. I'm a lot of data entry. I have gotten Hannah on board with some of that. But it's still, there's a lot of, like, I do all the social media, and yes, the joke is because I'm a control freak, but some of that's because I do want to have my flavor of, like, how it's going to go.
You built your flavor for so long that to change that, it would completely change.
Yeah. We have Hannah doing as much of the computer side of shipping and receiving as possible, and data entry, but that doesn't mean we suddenly have, like, it's really hard at this shop. I honestly can't remember how I did it all by myself, but that was before online shops and everything else that we had. And I can't wrap my brain around how, like, I'm thinking about the yarn crawl coming up, and how there are at least 3 or 4 of our 12 shops that do it, that they're a solo person running the shop. And that's a lot. Like,
we've talked
I don't understand how that can be done,
we've
anymore.
talked about the early days. I remember, I'd show up at, like, even before I started working, I'd show up at 9 or at 10 when the shop opened, and you'd already been here for like 2 or 3 hours.
I would come really early and I would leave really late, and I wouldn't get much rest at all.
And you were writing the newsletter at work and helping people, and you'd microwave your lunch like 5 times.
Because I could never get around to it because people would keep coming in.
That was unsustainable.
Yeah.
Like, it's great fun and games to think it could be, but, like,
right.
There's no way.
So between helping people here and helping people on the phone, and I love and appreciate doing all of that, and I know all of that comes with running a shop, basically. But some things end up falling by the wayside. So the busier we got, and again, it's not like we have dozens of customers every single day, But the busier that got, the harder it was to keep maintaining the online shop. Like the time I would have spent when we were doing the VSC, we'd film, and then I'd spend the rest of the day getting things up into the online shop. And sometimes it would happen and sometimes it wouldn't.
It was the rest of the day.
It was an entire day if I was lucky to get one yarn into the online shop. And some of that was being interrupted by customers, but some of that was just, there's photo, like, again, some of you have heard this all before, but it was taking the photos, color correcting the photos on my phone so they mostly looked like the real thing in front of me, because my phone, it's lovely to have the phone instead of a camera, but it's not true color. And if I borrow pictures from the from our supplier, sometimes those are not true color. Uploading them into the computer, getting them on the website, getting the description, tagging the pictures to their things. So taking the circular kits, for example, I'd love to have them online so we can sell more. And I could probably do that with taking Circulo's pictures if they let me download them and processing them over. But there's still a process that goes into that. And we've had times at the shop where I'm like, okay, I am just going to work all day in the teaching room because I don't have any appointments on getting this stuff done. And that leaves fewer people, maybe only you, to handle customers. And if more than one customer happens to come in at a time, and sometimes even just that customer, you are fully capable and sometimes better than me at handling customers. But sometimes
the phone rings.
Yeah, the phone rings, or the customer needs to make an appointment with me, or the customer needs. There's other things that happen where we're both like, they might need to order yarn, and that's me. That's not Liz. And so it's. I'm not trying to make excuses here, but I'm just trying to illustrate how challenging that can be. But here's one thing that this coming in, because this is not the only person who has said like, hey, I want to support you, but the online shop's out of date, or do you have other colors, or this says it's all out of stock, what's going on? To try to find some way to find some middle ground here. And also, it would be great to get the online shop more up to date. I would like to, I've already proposed this to Liz. Hannah's not here, so she's going to have to roll with it. But it's almost too challenging for us to do more filming days in the week. Like, we did too much, and we learned how much, like, when COVID hit us, when we actually caught COVID for the first time, it kind of was a lesson to us on how everything we were doing was too much, even when we got healthier. So we are not going to start filming more days of the week. We're still going to only film one day a week because, and that's even a lot more than other people do. Like, I want to say Jeff's on his 4th or 5th episode. He might be filming once a month. He has other stuff to do too. We love you, Jeff. But we want to stay in touch with y'all. So we're still going to be filming one day a week on Thursdays. What I have proposed is that we switch to one day a month. And it might just logically make the most sense to make it the first Thursday of the month. We'll kind of shift back to more of a VSC type episode, where one episode a month we will highlight a yarn and actually show colors off here, or some product, or maybe like a yarn and a notion. I don't know yet. We'll see. But one episode a month will be more VSC flavor. We'll be more trying to show you all, because even the video isn't necessarily going to show true color. But then I will do my best. It may not be that day. I will do my best to get stuff up online. We may return to having some discounts on things we're showing off for a certain period of time. Again, we're still troubleshooting that, or, wordsmithing would be the written version. We're still going to figure out the details, because I only proposed that today.
It's going to have to wait until June.
Well, that's the other thing, is that, anyone who's been on this journey with us may remember that May is a crazy month for us, because it is the Western North Carolina Yarn Crawl. And there's a dozen shops in this large chunk of Western North Carolina that we will all be celebrating yarn and having in-shop sales. It's one of those things. It's too hard to do virtually as well, but we can have some cool discounts and other things after the crawl. But it's this really big, like, all the shops in the area that participate really gear up for this 1 week. It's the week leading up to Mother's Day. For locals or people travel from out of state. People travel from other areas in the state to come and get a taste of all the shops. And it's really cool. But that means that we won't have the energy to do any changes until after that. So that means if we talk about the first Thursday of the month, that's going to start in June. So I hear this person, though. And what I hear from them, what we can do right now, the kits, not so much. If the kits, and by the kits I mean the ones in the bin she was talking about, we can send you photos. If you want to email us and say, hey, I remember vaguely these colors or this something, we can send you photos of that. Those kits, I can't promise are going to go up online because they're all for different patterns or different amounts of yarn. I can try to work in the next week or two in getting the Circulo kits up online. I think that's more manageable for me, and I hear that you would like to do more of those. They're crochet kits. They are absolutely adorable, and I will work on that. So thank you for sending this. It brings up the adjacent, like, if you would like the Dear Becky and Lizzie and Hannah write-in thing for either writing a letter or emailing, and
Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com.
Is really intended to be, it's like an advice column. If you'd like advice on something to do with knit or crochet or other things like that, then definitely write us a letter. The letters would go to 181 Rosman Highway, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712, or emailing. And that's going to be in the description. So we can like philosophize on things relating to yarn and such like that. So,
since we will philosophize on about anything,
yeah,
as seen by today, but it's
still related to our shop. But anyway, yeah, if questions get too personal, we might be like, yeah, I think we're gonna pass on that today. But thanks for writing. Just because I mentioned the crawl, things that we do for the yarn crawl will be available for purchase on the online shop after the crawl is over. We've got stuff from Yarn Baby coming in, hopefully stuff from Feederbrook and Fiber Spates, and some of the online shop stuff will automatically update when we put it in the system. But we're trying to get stuff in for the crawl, and some things like I try to design a pin and sticker every year that's related to the theme of the crawl. And those products, and I have other thoughts of things I want to do. Ooh. And those products will be available for online shoppers after the crawl. But I think I showed you all that our theme for the crawl this year is After the Storm, to celebrate hope and resilience after Helene. Because we are still, like, in this area, Brevard wasn't as hard hit, but I feel like economically we were hit. Asheville, Swannanoa, Yancey County, there's a shop in Yancey County. There's still piles of debris places. There's still roads that haven't been rebuilt. There's still a lot of craziness. But we're focusing on rainbows as a sign of hope and resilience and recovery. So it's after the storm. And Yarn Baby has a really cool color she's sending to us that's called Through the Storm, of like seeing the rainbow through the hot mess of the storm. It's gonna be, I haven't seen it. She won't show it to me, but we'll open it and be like, ah! So I drew this because we have our dragon doing something every year related to the crawl, and that would be that year's sticker and pin. And this is my colored in version. And I have worked with, we use Wizard pins for our stickers and pins, and I have been working with them to try to make the digital version of that work for us, for our stickers and pins. So, but this is the original artwork that I have, that I did, and hopefully we'll get all that in by the crawl, which is very exciting. And yeah, I'm so excited. It's the 6th through the 11th.
We're like in the whole yarn crawl
Yeah, we're in the
It's
panic
coming.
mode of the yarn crawl. But we're getting there. Like, I've ordered some stuff from different companies, so we have product, and if it doesn't sell during the crawl, then we have tons of product for you. Yay! So now we get to we have like 10 minutes left to talk about our stuff.
We're going to do this long. Today.
I know, but we had a lot of things to talk about.
We did.
So, anyway. Liz, let's start with you, because I've been just chittering away here. What do you want to show off?
So you see what had happened was Rebecca.
I'm like, this is going to take how long? No, okay. Go ahead.
Rebecca's been on a Granny Hexi Cardi kick. Like, she has her original. You will see another one in just a few minutes. And I was like, I want a Hexagon Cardi too.
But she didn't want to make
But
it
I
granny.
don't want a granny one.
She doesn't like actually participating in our make-alongs
I
because
really
it's
don't.
the Granny Hexi Cardi make-along for April and May. And she's like, I want to make a thing, but I don't want to be like part of this. So, but you do want to be part of this.
Pretty much. I do and I don't. I don't
She's
know.
like, that's a neat idea. I'm putting words in your mouth. That's a neat idea, but I don't want to make what everyone else is making.
Well, Granny, everybody's doing the Granny. And I'm like, but there's got to be other ideas. So I went on Pinterest. I do not have a pattern name. I went on Pinterest and I found a picture, which took me to a website, which took me to a Japanese pattern chart. So don't ask. If you ask, I'll be like, I don't know. It's a chart that I found on a website. So,
but the cool thing is any granny square, if you can, in the first row, turn it into 6 sides instead of 4.
Any square.
That's what, any square. It doesn't have to be granny, but any square in crochet. But you have to make it so, like these don't lay flat, but when you fold them, they do. But if you take the proportions of a square and then make it 6 sides instead of 4, this is what happens, and it's really cool.
So it's
Look at all that cuteness in there.
it's lacy, and I'm doing it out of Wizard.
It's not technically. There's chunks in here that almost look granny squares, but it's not a granny square.
It's 4 clusters instead of 3, so it's different.
That's totally different.
But yeah,
Totally different. Okay.
so
sorry.
it is totally different. No, it's really hard to do a square or whatever without having a whole lot of double crochets. But it's fun. I'm loving
And
it.
double crochets are really pretty. And there's like chains and loopy things and like it reminds me a lot, but it's not the same as the blanket I made, like the Charlotte's Universe, which again, if you really wanted to adapt, you could make it into a hexi cardigan, not granny, just a hexi cardi. Yeah.
So I am doing this one in Wizard. I have one and
Are you bouncing back and forth
I'm
between
bouncing.
them?
This one I'm on the 3rd row of
This one?
This color.
Okay. Because you're pointing and I'm like, yeah, we can see it, but you
I
can't.
know. So there's no more of this left because I bought it all. Sorry. It's
Maybe I have to place a wizard, a Baroque.
and then
order
I'm
before the
doing the
crawl.
teals to in between it.
So she's using these 2 colors,
Yes.
and it's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. And so this one I am finishing my 2nd row of the greens and teals
Cool.
So
Cool.
it's a little bit smaller. But
Well,
I'm
they
loving the
modularly
colors. Just FYI, Hannah doesn't because it's got teal in it.
Of course you had to throw that.
Loving
in.
that.
What else are you working on?
Oh, wait. And I like it so much.
Is that the same pattern?
It's the same pattern.
And what are you using for that?
Merino 401. I thought about using fingering weight, but I didn't want to wind my yarn.
Okay, can you hold that close to see that? Yeah. So it's the same pattern.
It's the same pattern.
And Merino 401 is a worsted weight, squishy merino, not superwash as far as we know. It looks like
It's
a
not
superwash we had, but it's not from Barocco. It's in 50 grams. That's actually an awesome transition to my Merino 401.
Yep.
But before, and it's
It's squishy. I'm doing it on a J hook.
Okay.
So,
before we transition to my Merino 401, which is not. It's like it shows my vest off, and then I can talk about my Granny Hexi stuff. You're wearing a new dress, right?
Well, I'm wearing a new underdress.
Oh, the overdress.
The overdress was from last year.
But it looks so different with the underdress.
Yeah.
Liz can layer and make it look like a totally new outfit.
And then I'm wearing my warm and cozy.
Wahad!
This has become my, I live in this now. And if I take it off at the shop and Hannah's here, she's living in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's warm and cozy and fuzzy.
It is like the most awesome cuddle dud ever. So, and I keep thinking about replicating it, and I just haven't yet. Because I got distracted by crochet.
Oh,
but it's okay, because they don't count, so... 210 projects on needles.
How many do you think you have crochet wise?
10,
20?
Probably 50. I don't in my head I can count probably 20 projects that I have going, and that doesn't count the ones that I've lost track of. It's crochet. You can take your hook out and go to another project. I don't, but you can. So, they're crochet.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we have 6
fine.
minutes.
You're fine.
So
go.
No. Okay, so this is my vest right now, and I could have it done by now, but I wanted to show you all. I finished the bottom. Again, this is Merino 401, just like her black. This is in a almost a mustardy, but it's really light. It's kind of a Sun Dragon color. I didn't finish it on purpose because I wanted to show you how it looked. Like the collar still needs to be done and one ribbing on the sleeve, but I don't know if you can see. This is one
sleeve
one
done.
I got one done. I got one done after Sit and Stitch on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And a couple mornings ago, I was casting off this, and I was like, I could finish the whole thing, but I worked on my other cardie instead, and I'm almost done with that. But I wanted you to see how it could look like this arm opening is massive, and then when you put in, according to her instructions, you put in the ribbing, and suddenly it's a whole lot smaller. So I wanted to show you all before I finished it how that would look on with one cuff thing on and one not. And see, Liz has to help me dress. So I'm loving the length of this. I think this is just fine. I don't think it needs to be any longer.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So this look how big and open and crazy that is. So this is to show you that if you're making something and you're like, I think that's too big, you might want to hold off until you put the edging on it. Because look at how that edging, that's comfy.
It finishes,
It pulls it in. So this is all big and gappy, and this doesn't fit.
And your collar looks all kinds of wonky, but once you put a collar on
once I put the collar on, so I hope to finish this before next Thursday. So take this in now for how this side looks good. Right? Tons of ends to weave in. And this side still looks crazy and really big and maybe doesn't fit right, and maybe the collar, it's I don't know if I want to make that. But think about what's going to happen. I was hoping, this is my 6th or 7th ball. They're 50-gram balls. So it's not like this took that much yarn. These are $10 a piece, I want to say. 10, 11, something like that. So think about how much yarn's going into this. But some of our nice yarn that's 100 grams is going to be about 20 for the 100 grams. So I was hoping this one, which I started down here, would finish all the ribbing, and I don't think it will. I think I'm going to need to crack into another one to finish up here. But if I can, I'll compare that to what my size was supposed to take yardage-wise before I talk to y'all next week. I also probably made this longer. Not crazy long, but longer than it was supposed to be. So, but I think this is supposed to be an inch, so an inch over here, and I forget how much the collar, but I think the whole thing's going to tighten up just a bit and be lovely. But I wanted you to see finished versus unfinished, just how that can look and how it can change. Because looking at it week to week, is not the same as looking at it side by side.
And
right
that's
now, you know?
that's something like you got to a sleeve separation and you've gone back and finished the collar.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how
And
that
can
change the look, the fit, the whatever of a sweater.
You don't have to do things in order. Like, I think the next thing I was supposed to do after finishing the bottom might have been the collar, but I decided this might be easier to get done. And then look what I could show you all today. So,
especially if you have questions about the size and the fit.
Right. Okay, so I am almost done with my second Granny Hexi cardie. And this was the one that I was making out of 3 different flavors. Oh, everything's inside it. That's right, because I folded it up from morning meditation, which I haven't posted yet. 3 different flavors of cumulus. Solid, rainbow, and dappled. And I didn't bring what one of the rainbow ones looks like to show you here, but I could do that next week if you're interested. And this is not all updated on the website, so see previous conversation. But I used 3 different flavors. I used a solid and a chartreusey green. I used fluorescent lights rainbow. And like springtime
flowers or something like that.
In the dappled. And I used 2 skeins of each yarn, so 6 skeins total. And one of the interesting things I've discovered, so this is how much I have left of the second skeins. And I'm working on the sleeve ending right now. I've got it all done but the sleeves. One of the things that was really interesting, the cumulus is a really soft cotton. I used a K-hook, and if you are going to try to replicate what I do, I'm a somewhat loose crocheter. So I would say you may want to go to an L or something like that if you are going to try to do what I did, because your stitch gauge might be different.
You're about 2 sizes up from what I
crochet. Give or take, right? So, and we'll get that later. So it took me, so I did 2 rows of each color before I shifted. So I started with, if you go in here, I started with the chartreuse, 2 rows of chartreuse, 2 rows of rainbow, 2 rows of dappled, 2 rows of chartreuse, 2 rows of rainbow, which is a very different color at this point, 2 rows of dappled. And it took 3 repeats of that, of the 6 rows, to get to the right measurement for my size. But I found with this, because of the drape and the pull and the weight of it, see then in the back when I joined it, I've got 2 rows of, this is where my hexagon ended, green, 1 row of rainbow, green, 1 row of rainbow, and then what was left of the dappled was my seaming row in the back. This is already big enough. It's pretty much the same size as the added.
it is so soft and cuddly.
It is so soft and cuddly.
Oops, sorry.
And it's okay. Well, see, that's gonna.
Well, I was trying to not.
That's okay. I just started the edging on this, and it's gonna come out. And that's okay. The sleeves are a little longer, even though when I measured, I was like, okay. Well, I also wanted to hit the right repeat, right? So the sleeves and the torso, I think, is almost the same length as the one I made with Cascade 220 Superwash, which I had to add rows to. I have already finished the edging on this, the collar and bottom. And what I did with that is an extra row of the chartreuse all the way around and an extra row of the rainbow, which at this point is at the really fuchsia outside, and a row of single crochet with the fuchsia. And so this is all I have left of the fuchsia from the rainbow. And I have a ton left because the outside-most row of this with the green, with the chartreusey green, was some of the smaller rows. I have a bunch left of this. I seamed on the outside. The other one I seamed so the ridge is on the inside. I seamed with the dappled, and I seamed as best I could and a color repeat to kind of make them match. But I flipped one inside out so that I could make these match. Like I made the fronts match. If you look at the rainbow colors, that's what matches. See the rings of like the chartreusey, whatever, and the teal, and the and so if you look at the back, what's really cool is if you look at the back, you've got different parts of the rainbow, but it should match. Does that kind of match?
It does.
That's what I was going for. I think it's so cool. And my plan with this, I'm doing half double crochet, but okay, couple things. I don't think I want to cuff this the same way I did my other one because
I don't think you have to.
This is why it starts. Because the softness, it's not going to rib and stretch like the other one. And it's already, like, I had to add 5 rows on the other one. Again, my rows were smaller. But I think this is the right length. And even though I have more, I wanted to keep this within the 6 balls and not go past. I think I can accomplish that. My thought right now is 1 row of half double crochet. And then a row of single or half double crochet with this on each sleeve. And then I'm done, because then it kind of matches this part. But it is so soft and lovely, and I want to wear this like the rest of my life right now.
It looks so cuddly, and it fits really, really well.
It fits really well. The drape of this helps it from feeling quite as boxy as the other one. But same pattern, just different yarn, different hook. This took 18 rows to get to this length and width and everything else. And then I added a couple rows for the edging. The other one, because I was on a 7, a 4.5 millimeter, and Cascade 220 superwash, it took me 23 rows, and then I added 5 rows. Whereas this one, I only added 3 rows to each side of the back. So anyway, this is the one we want to end on. It is past 10 o'clock, but nobody's here yet. But we should go. Tuesdays, we have virtual sit and stitch. It is from 7 to 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Zoom, and you get in with a shop phone number.
828-877-3550.
We will not be having a Sunday sit and stitch in May because the yarn crawl takes everything out of us. But the next Sunday dual platform sit and stitch will be in June. So lots of things could be coming in June. Stay tuned for that. And if you want to jump into the Coach and Connect on this, we have 3 more sessions of Coach and Connect, which is on Zoom from 6:30 to 7:30 every other Saturday. This Saturday is one of them. It's $40. Even though you've missed the first one, it's just too complicated to try to price range it. And just it's $40. It's still a really good rate, even if you only come to 3. And you can ask your questions. That's available in our online shop. But it's been great to hang with y'all. I'm going to, as the yarn wraps around me, I'm going to come sit for a second. And yeah, this is just, it's so
It looks
fun.
cuddly.
And it's bright and it's, and I love that, like, I didn't, we have to go. But what I will show you next week is I wanted to make something, and I should have more of this done. Liz talked me into, because I wanted to show off a really thin cotton sparkly yarn, Liz talked me into a Hexi cardi. Where the heck is this? A Hexi cardi that's not a granny, and look, it's all lacy. I don't have much of it done.
It's all lace.
It's all lace and like front post and bobbles, and we'll see how this is going.
That is gorgeous.
I wasn't intending to have this be my new color theme, but apparently this is my new spring color theme. So
it looks all like hippie and cute and spring, and
I don't know. Like I picked
I'm
a
sure
yellow.
Hannah's happy with the color combination.
I picked a yellow to go with this, and I just don't know because this has like leaves that intermingle.
I like that just
just by itself.
By itself.
I might just use it by itself. But anyway, I might do an edging in the yellow. But I used a lot more yellow than I thought I would. Okay, we're gonna go. Bye.
Like,